My name is Dustin Miles. I'm super excited to have Rebecca here today. We've actually known each other pretty long time. I think north of a decade now. So, anyways, but yeah, super excited to have Rebecca. I'll have her kind of introduce herself, and then we'll take it from there. So, Rebecca, could you we'd love to hear about you and your background and just yeah, kind of how you got going.
Okay, great, Dustin, and it's great to be here. Thank you so much for asking me. So, I am now a multifamily syndicator, and so what that means, as most of your audience might already know, is that we find people that want to invest in apartments. We pull it all together and put a down payment on an apartment. My background, however, though, was as a psychologist, and my husband was a naval officer, and we got started back in San Diego, but then met Dustin at an investment club that we were part of there in Dallas. So now, me and my husband, we work together, and we focus on the Dallas and the Houston areas to find primarily C-class so far, C and B class apartments right now, and I've also had the opportunity to be in an A class.
Awesome. Well, cool. And I can't remember part of it. When did you guys kind of get going?
Oh, it was back in 2014
Oh, wow.
was, yeah, when we joined the group and started coming out to Dallas to get to know the market and learn how to do syndications.
Awesome. And so you guys invest in Dallas and Houston. And I think is that where you guys have all of the deals that you're in as a GP in Dallas and Houston or any others?
No, I have LP in other states, but no, we primarily focus in Dallas and Houston.
Okay, cool. And what's your role been as a GP? And then what do you like to do? And just yeah, what does that look like?
Okay. Well, started out with our group, and together, what was great is that I met a lot of friends, one of which was Mr. Dustin Miles. And he really took me under his wing, right, Dustin, and taught me how to do the underwriting. And so I would tell you that I really enjoyed learning the acquisition side, because we would talk and talk and talk throughout the week, talking about, okay, what's happening with this building, running me through the foundations of what we need to decide on as a criteria, as well as talking to brokers, insurance people, the tax man, all of the above, all the lenders. So I really do enjoy the acquisition side. But now that I have a number of buildings under my belt that I asset manage, I have found that I might even enjoy that a little bit better. Working with our property managers, working with the leasing agents right there at the desk, going through the KPIs for the property management has been really rewarding, frustrating and scary, but also can be really fun to be working with those people, trying to identify places where we can improve the tenant's life as well as improve the NOI for our investors.
What
I
I
also,
thought.
yeah,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
I was gonna say I thought it was all your rainbows and unicorns.
So did I when it started. Yep, it's definitely been a different road.
Yeah. Well, good. So kind of curious, is there, so we do different things. We do events and webinars and things like that. We're trying to kind of set ourselves apart, from other folks and all that. Is there anything that you guys can, kind of think of that helps set yourself apart? I do think it's from, at least from, there are some husband wife, teams and combos that I see, but that's not, I'd say that's, not the majority for sure. So yeah, just curious if there's anything you can think of that, kind of sets your all selves apart.
Yeah, it isn't easy working together, and working together as asset managers as well, because we might do things differently. However, we have really tried to sharpen our skills and get more in focus on what we're both good at. And that would be definitely that Warren is incredibly detail oriented. So when it comes to the legal documents and a lot of the accounting, and especially the K1s, those things are things that he absolutely excels at. And I'm so grateful to have him for, because I wouldn't be the person that you would want on your K1. And so with myself, I am much more of the investor relations, getting out there in front of people at the conferences, et cetera, getting to figure out our team, who the team is going to be, having those good relationships as well. And also the monthly newsletter is something that I enjoy writing to, communicating to everybody who's been a part of this, so that they can really have a window into what's happening, through all of our buildings. So I like to have that part a lot, as well as, just talking again with our fellow GPs and keeping those relationships ongoing, because you have to be talking to them at all times, especially the asset managers. We partner with another person for 3 of our buildings, and so we're talking with him all the time. So that tends to be my strength for this. But all in all, sort of encompassing for Starboard Equity, I think that with the investors that we have, we really want to focus on them. We really want to do right by them and keeping them in constant communication, knowing that we're going to be there for them. We get a lot of compliments on how it's us who's talking to them, not so much, let's say, our VAs or assistants.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, interesting. What are you guys, and maybe, and you could also answer it kind of a different way or a different question, but what do you guys look for in a deal, or what do you guys are, because I know you also partner with people too. What do you look for in a deal, or what do you look for in kind of when you're potentially going to partner up with someone?
Yeah, so we've partnered with just a handful of other people, and we've really been able to define that criteria a lot better now. And so, as I think you and I would say, we have learned in our journey of 10 years together, that the person that you're going to partner with, you really need to dive deep into what their goals are for not only themselves and the property, but also do they have the same values with investors as Warren and I do? Do they have the same idea of the exit as well? Because, some people might be, I just want the money, so let's just sell early. Whereas we want to be able to get the best returns. So we need to be on the same page with that. Also, in talking about partners, somebody that is reliable. And I know we all seem excited and reliable at the very beginning, but you really do need to know the person and that they are going to be reliable throughout, because it's going to be constant communications. And so having a person who, not that you're available all the time, but somebody's going to respond.
Yep.
And that's hard to find when you're just, at a conference and saying, "Oh, you got a deal? Great, I'll be on it."
Well, it's kind of like you've never seen a bad resume. I mean, I have seen some bad resumes, but for the most part, that's kind of your, polished, look and all that. So, it's
Right.
kind of funny. I know, I'm sure you have too. I've gotten some interesting LP questions before. Been asked everything, I think, but but one question that I thought an LP had asked, I was like, man, that's a good question. I think it's a smart question, and the LP was like, what question should I be asking you, about this deal? So I'm gonna kind of direct that question to you. And if there's anything in particular that you can think of that an LP should be asking, whether it could be, I don't know, yeah, however, whatever direction you want to take
Hmm.
that in. So,
Okay, sure. Yeah, I think first of all, for the LP, that they want to focus on you just as much as on the investment that they're thinking about making. And
mhm.
so really talking to that GP about, why are you in this? Why are you doing this? Do you enjoy doing it? How many have you done? Of course, that track record is always important for the LP to know, but also how much money, how much skin do they have in the game is pretty important as well. But let's
Yep.
go to the other side of the investment side. And I think that a lot of folks need to understand that it is projections. And so, really talking to maybe your GP about the projections. Do they think it's going to come through? How do they feel? Is there a stress test? And most people are doing stress tests now. So, I think that is very useful for the LP. But also, where does this GP see this building going? What, really sort of understanding the business plan, I think is important for the LPs to know. Because we tend not to, and we tend to feel like, okay, this really looks good, let's jump in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe asking a little bit more about the lending and how that works and what's going to happen. Again, we just had a cycle of the interest rates going up so high, something that none of us would be able to predict. Yet, some of us are surviving, we're doing it. Some of us not so much, it's not able to. And so having maybe really looking at that stress test and understanding the lending, Fannie Mae, bridge loan, maybe understanding that, I think would be some of the things that now, as I know myself as a GP several times, an LP is going to want to know some of that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Kind of curious what you like. And I think you maybe at least kind of touched on it a little bit, what you like most about multifamily. If there's anything that you maybe, did, not, maybe dislike a little bit too. I know we're all in the middle of, it's K1 season and all that. So I know for me, K1s is probably,
Mm-hmm.
I like it's I guess, I don't think these are strong words, but I'll just, can't think of a love-hate relationship. I do not a big fan of the process getting K1s, but then I like the result where I don't have to, pay out as much in taxes. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
curious if there's anything that you really, really like about multifamily and maybe not so much. So
Okay. So I guess on a broad view, when we first started, we thought, we'll buy some single family homes, more of those, or a duplex or something, and then learning about the syndication itself with multifamily, the scalability of it. Of course, if somebody, moves out, I'm not losing all that rent. So in the long run, which has been, 5 years, maybe it will be 7 years now, there'll be a nice reward at the end. And being real estate, of course, it's typically always a good investment, something that's going to appreciate and make money. So that's why I like multifamily there. Now, in going into it as a GP, then you get into the details, like you were talking about the K1s. I know over here at our house, it is, constant paperwork, phone calls, making sure that those K1s are right, if we can, before we send them out to the investors. But getting them out before March 15th is a real win as well, or April 15th also. So it's funny how it's a thankless job. People will say, where's my K1? Where's my K1? But they have no idea how much work it takes just to get that K1 to your CPA, as well
yeah,
as getting them back
yeah.
from the CPA. So that is, part of the dark and dirty of asset management and being a GP.
Awesome. And then, I know the answer to this question, obviously, but I know you started in a mentoring program, and I guess just kind of curious, are you in any programs right now, or what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I feel like, what's great is that I've sort of graduated, in a sense,
Hmm.
from our program, and it is great. It was great. The people are great. I'm always going to have a connection so that we can always be in the know of what's going on in multifamily. And again, conferences, speaking with brokers, that is more of the connection now, just keeping everything that I've learned rolling. And even just a WhatsApp group from all of our friends. I mean, there's hundreds of people in there talking all the time
Oh, wow.
about taxes, insurance, property management. So we have been able to keep this really great open conversation that it has everything that we need to know ready to go. I guess you could say I can pick up the phone and ask any question.
Wow.
Is really great. What's also been fun is that I've been a coach for Vertical Street Ventures
Mm.
for a while. They are out of Phoenix, and they do multifamily, not only the existing buildings, but they do development as well. And they also have their own academy. And so it's been an amazing pleasure to give back all that I have learned to their academy students starting out like I did.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Kind of curious, are there, so switching gears a little bit, are there, it doesn't have to be multifamily, it can be whatever. Any books or podcasts that you would recommend, or and especially if there's a book or podcast that you've read or listened to more than once, I'd
Hmm.
be very curious about that.
Great. Well, yes. Fundraising is the big thing now that we need to work a little bit harder on. So I have been trying to sharpen my skills with that. So reading Hunter Thompson's Raising Capital,
Hmm.
it's always like going back and saying, oh yeah, I got to do that a little bit more. I got to do that a little bit more. For podcasts, I can't tell you that I listen to a lot of them all the time because I feel like I'm on the phone all the time. But definitely the capital raising books and yeah, Hunter Thompson's Raise Fest was very useful.
Okay, awesome. And then, just, kind of curious where what this, the rest of the year looks like. We're still, in Q1 just by a little bit, but, what does 2024 look like for you?
Well, great. Yeah, it's been just a great journey with the properties that I do have. And so right now, as in many, we are working on getting the bridge loans into agency or some other fixed rate loan. So although it's a challenge, it's also kind of a fun challenge, making sure the property is running, just a well greased machine so that we will be looking good to the agency folks. Because again, what we know is that bridge loans, they can give a lot of money at the front in order to help you to uh, build the building better, do your paint, do all your CapEx. However, the agency loans, they have more stricter criteria. So they've come into our buildings and said, yeah, we want you to fix this and fix that as well. So getting those fixes done, as well as, again, making sure it's a well-oiled machine as far as the operations go with our PM, so that we can make sure that we have the correct NOI, the correct DSCR, everything the lender needs in order to make that transition. So that's what we're doing on 3 of our buildings. And another one that I've held for a while, one that you're familiar with, Jane Lane.
Hmm.
We are looking at the prospect of hopefully a better economy coming up. So we have been, again, doing the smaller details to get that one potentially ready for a sale in the coming year or so.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I actually went by there not too long ago. So, um,
We
I was
got a
like,
new office. It looks great.
oh, cool.
Hmm.
I didn't go inside
No,
anywhere. I
I
just
know.
kind of drove by, but yeah. Um, well, cool. Just kind of, curious if you have any advice for someone looking to be a GP, what that might look like, especially since you've, gone on to coach and mentor, some people getting going.
Okay. Well, luckily we are in 2024 because I know 23 was really hard on people as far as, feeling the excitement. But it's there and the deals are coming. And of course, my number one advice is never, 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 never quit. Right? For you and I, we looked for the Bristols, our first deal together, for a year and a half or more. I'm not
Yep.
sure,
It
but
was a
we
while.
put in at least 26 LOIs.
Wow.
It's not easy. This is actually a really gratifying game, but it doesn't come easy. And if it does come easy, you're going to have some blows coming up. Maybe
Might be
maybe
some
something
pain.
that's going to go wrong.
Yeah.
But of
Yeah.
course, never quit. Keep underwriting. Keep doing it because you're going to get better every single time. You're going to learn how to finesse those numbers, and the more buildings that you see, the more that you're going to be able to really see the potential of the building in and the business plan. And so again, it feels like, don't quit your job because you're going to need your job for a while, but never quit. Keep doing it over and over and over again. And let me just go on here, Dustin, is that you can't necessarily take weekends off. You
Yeah.
can't walk away from this when you need to know a detail about that building to get your LOI in on Monday. So it takes a lot of discipline. You have to have that fire within you. And that was something that I really had when you were helping me. And, any time of the day, any minute, anything I was doing, I'm picking up that phone call from Dustin because it probably has a gold nugget of something that I could learn or do to get that deal. But you got to have the fire and you've got to have the discipline.
Awesome. Well, how can people get a hold of you? Website, email, whatever you want to
Yeah.
do. So
Yeah,
yeah,
great. Yeah, so we have a website. It's Starboard Equity, Starboard, like the starboard side of a ship, equity.com. And you can find me at Rebecca, Rebecca, at starboardequity.com.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate it. Great to see you as always, and look forward to grabbing lunch soon. Thank you, Rebecca.
Okay, me too.
All right, see
Thank
ya.
you. Bye.
Bye.